Hey everyone, it's Todd the Cybertruck truck guy, and today I'm going to be doing a reaction video to a recent review of the Hummer EV by popular YouTube auto reviewer Doug DeMuro. Now it turns out that Doug and I have a little bit of a history because Doug is part of the reason why I actually started this channel. Back in the beginning, I got so frustrated at watching people like Doug and other people that were doing reviews of the Cybertruck give their opinion who weren't really truck people. They were focusing on the wrong things, they were highlighting the wrong things, and they were ignoring some of the most important and compelling reasons I personally thought the Cybertruck was going to do amazing out here in Truckland. Now, the thing I want to specifically talk about is Doug's comment where he says this.
And I suspect this will be considered the EV truck to beat, not necessarily the weird-looking Cybertruck or any other one which may or may not exist.
That little quip, that little off-the-cuff remark by Doug, to me, shots fired. Get ready, Doug, because we're going to go back into your review and your logic of how you originally criticized the Cybertruck. And we're going to show exactly how flawed your process either is or was. And I'm really going to demonstrate that the objectivity that you supposedly use, you are in no way applying. Now, I genuinely believe the reason is Doug hates the aesthetics of the Cybertruck, and he just is looking for any reason to find some other truck out there that he thinks will carry the mantle of EV truck, but no way, no how. His original review video is so full of flaws and false equivalencies that I think it totally demonstrates his inability to understand how people in Truckland use trucks, buy trucks, and what's going to motivate them in deciding which truck is actually the one to beat. So let's get started.
This is more Doug DeMuro, and today I'm going to tell you my opinion of the Tesla Cybertruck. I have been doing YouTube videos now for a little over 6 years, and I have never had as many people tweeting me, emailing me, Facebooking me, asking for my opinion of a car as I have with the Cybertruck. It is certainly sending shockwaves. So today, I'm going to give you my opinion. Now, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox here, and I'm going to start by talking about the Cybertruck specs, its capacities, its range, its pricing, instead of the styling. Virtually everyone covering this truck is talking about the styling, and I will get to that in a minute. But this truck is about more than just how it looks. And I think this is especially important because a lot of the coverage about Tesla is from tech journalists, and tech journalists are generally clueless about pickup trucks. But I think it's important to have the conversation about the specs because for people who actually want or need a pickup truck, the pickup truckness is important.
You hear that? For people who actually want or need a pickup truck, the pickup truckness of the truck is important. Now, he's going to actually proceed to talk about things like towing, like payload, like range. He's going to spend a significant amount of the next period of this video talking about all these different components are, and then he's going to talk about cost. And he's going to make the argument, and you'll see here in a second, why when you look at the truckiness of the Cybertruck versus the truckiness of regular pickup trucks, and then you combine it with the cost, which he thinks is high for the Cybertruck, how the value equation just isn't there. Wow. Now, when you go watch his review on the Hummer EV, what does he completely ignore? He never once mentions towing. He never once mentions payload. And he certainly doesn't dwell very long on the price, which is astronomical. He in no way used the exact standard he used for diminishing the Cybertruck in calling the Hummer EV the truck to beat. To who? Who's going to buy a $100,000 truck? Okay, so in this next section, Doug, in his original video, is going to talk about the specs of the Cybertruck tri-motor. And we're going to show that, and then I'm going to show you a little clip from his Hummer EV reveal where he talks about the similar specs in terms of acceleration of the Hummer EV. Let's take a look.
Then there's the top trim. That one is $70,000. It does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and it has a 500-mile range, and it'll tow 14,000 pounds, which is really impressive. And payload capacity for all of the trucks is 3,500 pounds.
And then, once all of that is done, this will do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, despite the fact that it is insanely massive. You know, I owned an old Hummer, an H1, and it did 0 to 60 in about 25 seconds. And it's crazy to imagine this being a continuation of the Hummer lineage, but it is, and it's really impressive, and it seems even more capable than the old school one.
Wow, what a difference. Same 3 seconds of acceleration. In fact, the Cybertruck is listed as under 2.9 seconds, and yet the first time he's reacting to the Cybertruck, he's just reading it off of a list, while he's also listing some astonishing payload and towing capacities. And then he gets to the Hummer EV, and he's like a giddy schoolgirl, just tittering with excitement around the exact same acceleration specifications, all while the Hummer EV has noticeably been quiet about trucky things that he says are so important about the Cybertruck, like payload and towing capacity. But doesn't matter now. Okay, so in this next clip, Doug is going to talk about how the Cybertruck's range and towing and payload all are exceptional for an electric vehicle, and actually do quite well when you compare it to the standard pickup trucks right now, the Chevy Silverado and the Ford F-150. And then he says something that I really want you to pay attention to as you think about his comments about the Hummer EV. Enjoy.
Now, everyone is focusing on those final numbers, 500-mile range and 14,000-pound towing capacity, and they should be, because for a light-duty, full-size pickup truck, that's amazing. Right now, the best Tesla range is a version of the Model S that will do 370 miles. So doing 500 miles in a pickup truck is fantastic. And towing 14,000 pounds is also a big deal. The closest trucks right now are the Chevy Silverado and the Ford F-150, which can tow 12,000 and 12,700 pounds respectively. So the Cybertruck is an improvement there too, and that's big. But what nobody seems to be reporting about is how tremendously expensive the Cybertruck is for what it offers.
Wait, Doug. Now, maybe I'm wrong here, but since the crux of your criticism about the Cybertruck not standing up to the same kind of value proposition as a Model 3 or the Model Y, I'm wondering why you never actually addressed that with the Hummer EV. In fact, I wonder why, with the Hummer EV having actually 150 miles less range than the Cybertruck, costing almost double, or well, I guess 50% more than the Cybertruck is. The Cybertruck apparently having higher towing capacity and payload capacity. Those things all being so important to those of us that actually buy and use trucks and use them in our companies and recreationally, truck people. How is it that the Hummer EV's insane price is not the most important part of your review of it? Why do you just gloss over that? I'm really curious, Doug, because you claim to be objective, and right now it really seems like you're not. Also, you don't know trucks, because as we're going to show in a second here, you're comparing things with a Cybertruck that really don't make sense, but we'll get to that now.
Right now, the average transaction price for a light-duty, full-size pickup truck is $48,000, give or take. If you go look at the Chevy Silverado, the most expensive version is called the High Country. That starts at $58,000. The Cybertruck top trim starts at $70,000, which is huge money, even in the truck world where things have been getting more expensive. Now, its numbers are great. 14,000 pound towing capacity, 0 to 60 in 2.9, but $70,000 base price, it's really expensive for a truck.
Wait, if 70,000 is expensive, what's 112? You tell me, Doug. Let's watch some more.
So, unlike the Model 3, where you're getting more but you're paying less for it, with the Cybertruck, if you compare it against a light-duty full-size truck, you're getting more but you're paying more for it. And if you compare it to a heavy-duty full-size truck, you're paying the same money and you're getting less. And to me, that's bad news. This is the first Tesla where the value proposition doesn't really line up. You look at the Model 3 on paper and you almost can't afford not to buy it. It's as quick as a BMW M5, but it costs the same as a mid-level BMW 3 Series. It's a crazy bargain. And you can make similar comparisons for the Model S and to a lesser extent the Model X. But the Cybertruck, the value proposition isn't there. And on paper, it seems like a myth.
So Doug, the reason that you see the value in a Model 3 is because you understand cars. And you can compare the Model 3 to the appropriate car, in this case, a BMW. But in my case, as a truck guy, I see something you totally missed. With a Cybertruck, I get a truck that can pull like an F-250 with a diesel engine. It can accelerate faster and work better off-road than an F-150 Raptor. It has the luxury features of an F-150 Limited. And at the end of the day, when I have to fill it up, it costs me the amount of money to fill it up as a Prius. That's the value. That's what you're missing.
Now, you're probably thinking, well, there's more besides towing. And that's true. I like to use towing as sort of a catch-all measure of a truck's toughness.
Except when you're talking about the Hummer EV. Then you ignore it.
But there is more to it than that. But Tesla hasn't really given us all that much to go on. They drove a quad into the Cybertruck when it was up on stage. Okay, great, but a lot of trucks can do that.
No, Doug. No other truck has an integrated retractable ramp. And if you actually loaded quads and motorcycles into a back of a truck, you'd understand why that's such a big deal.
The Cybertruck has a roll-top bed cover. Again, okay, great, but a lot of trucks have that, not game-changing.
No, Doug. Again, they don't. No truck comes standard with a rolling retractable tonneau cover that's strong enough for you to stand on. All of them cost extra. No truck has the kind of sloped back bed that makes it so that when the retractable tonneau cover is closed, you can actually comfortably sleep in the back of it. And also, no other truck has power outlets that are capable of supporting both heaters and air conditioning units so that you can make the back of your bed an actual living space when you're camping off-road. But since I'm assuming you don't do much camping off-road, or you don't use your truck bed to sleep in, or have a truck, or ever use a truck like a truck, again, you don't know what you're talking about.
It's bulletproof, supposedly. Okay, fine, but no rational person cares about that.
Well, first of all, hell of a trick to be bulletproof. But, Doug, you should realize that that's not actually the point he was making. The point they were trying to make, and they did that by actually banging a sledgehammer into the truck, is that the stainless steel exoskeleton is tough. Tougher than any truck I'm familiar with. And as somebody that actually damages my trucks, whether I'm using it at work or whether I'm off-roading with it, that's pretty impressive. The other thing is, coming in from California, you don't have to deal with salt, and you don't have to deal with rust. But out here in Truckland, we have salt, and our trucks rust. So having a skin that's stainless steel that can absorb the blow of a sledgehammer and can actually go through a decade worth of winters without rusting, yeah, hell of a big deal. At least if you use a truck like a truck.
So then really you're left with just a few benefits. One of them is 0 to 60, which I admit is awesome. Getting a truck 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds is insane. It is so cool, and that is an amazing feat. But I think Tesla and its supporters will discover that 0 to 60 sells cars a lot more than it sells trucks. People in the performance luxury sedan world really paying attention to that stuff. Truck buyers, not as big of a deal.
Oh, so 0 to 60 isn't important to truck people because, remind me, how many trucks have fast 0 to 60 times? Oh, none? Yeah, none. That's why it doesn't matter, Doug. Because like submarine trucks and trucks that can drive around on the moon and trucks that can burrow under the ground, if you don't have an option to get a truck that has those things, it's not a big deal. But guess what? The first time I go with my buddies and I thrash them all over the backwoods, and I outpull them with my trailer, and I'm driving it like a rally car. You don't think they're all going to go, well, maybe I would like to have a truck that has a fast 0 to 60 time. Please.
And then, of course, another benefit of the truck is there's the EV factor. But one wonders how effective this will really be if you're using the truck to do truck stuff. For example, towing a trailer, the range will be severely affected. Some people do tow with their Model X and they report vastly diminished range. I mean, think about it. Stopping every 300, 350 miles to supercharge in your Model S, that's no problem really. You have hours in between stops, not a huge deal. But if you get like the mid-level Cybertruck, you're stopping already every 300 miles, then you're pulling a trailer, vastly diminishes your range. And if you have to stop every couple hours, it will make road trips very inconvenient. And road trips is where people are pulling trailers and using pickup trucks.
Well, Doug, you're right. Range is a big deal. I think maybe the Doug from 10 months ago needs to talk to the Doug of today and explain to him why if you can get a Cybertruck for $70,000 that has 560 miles of range, that might be a better deal than a Hummer EV that's $99,000 and only has 300 miles of range. That Doug had some good points to tell this Doug. So, have him talk.
So regardless, some of this stuff, like the ability to load a quad and the bulletproof thing, those aren't really benefits. And some of this other stuff is nice to have, of course, but I'm not seeing a really compelling, crazy knockout feature that will make this truck the thing everybody wants, especially when you consider its higher price point to similar trucks.
Yeah, Doug, you're right. When you mention it, the fact that all you have is an almost indestructible stainless steel exoskeleton, the fastest 0 to 60 time of any truck ever, a rolling retractable tonneau cover, power outlets that can power any tool that you can bring along with you, an integrated retractable ramp, an onboard air compressor, a premium interior, high technology touchscreen, state-of-the-art self-driving system, probably the lowest cost of ownership and cost of operation of any truck that's ever existed, up to 16 inches of ground clearance, giving it probably some of the best off-road performance of any truck ever, the lowest center of gravity that any truck will have, probably the highest safety rating that any truck probably will have, industry-leading specifications for cargo and towing, and the longest range of any EV on the market. I guess probably the fart button will be the reason I buy it. I can't think of anything else.
And so with that in mind, let's talk about styling. Now, first off, I want to say that styling is very subjective and everyone is allowed an opinion. But in my opinion, this is the ugliest wheeled vehicle I have ever seen in my life. And I include in that Zambonis and those ride-on floor cleaner machines like this. Now, I want to say that I absolutely hate when people call new car designs ugly, because people pretty much always say that all new car designs are ugly because new car designs are new and people hate change and they don't like things they're not familiar with. And so people always say, that car is ugly right after it comes out, and inevitably it grows on people after they see them on the street for a few years. But
no, Doug, no buts. Stop right there. That point you're making is the point you need to listen to, because like all controversial designs, if something persists, it becomes normal. And the point is, especially with a truck, what people look at primarily is its utility and capacity to do the things that they're purchasing the truck to do. Now, to be sure, some people are buying a truck as a status symbol and don't use it like a tool. But a lot of people, especially out here in truckland, are looking first and foremost at, can the truck do the job I want it to do? And as I just listed off that long list of features and benefits, in my mind, the Cybertruck is going to be something that I've wished for a long time. Something that can combine a very capable work truck with a very capable off-road truck. And that is something that is very hard to do. And if that means I got to live with a little door stopper as my vehicle, so be it.
But I think Tesla would be better off to just scrap the whole thing and start over. The memes on the internet are out of control. People are making so much fun of this. This is causing even the die-hard Tesla fans to kind of question the direction and the vehicle, and that isn't good, because you need those people.
Doug, you know why I started this channel? Because I kept seeing videos from people that were like die-hard Tesla fans, or people like you, all people that aren't truck people, telling me why I shouldn't like the Cybertruck. You know, the fans that you need die-hard truck fans. You need people that actually use trucks, like trucks.
Even Tesla's stock price took a hit. They revealed the truck Thursday night, and on Friday, their stock price dropped by 6%, a little over.
Yeah, so how did that stock market indicator work out for you, Doug? Doesn't look like kept share prices down for very long.
So anyway, that's my take. I think the styling is absolutely awful, but for me, this truck is an early flop for more than just that. The value proposition against other trucks isn't there.
Now at this point, I could talk about my problems with Doug and other people's review of the Hummer EV, but that's not really the point. The point is that as critical as Doug was on the Cybertruck when it came to things like its relatively high cost and a questioning of whether or not its specifications would match up well to conventional trucks, and even, I think, a fairly legitimate concern about the aesthetics of the Cybertruck, he absolutely glossed over some glaring issues, some big blind spots of the Hummer EV. I think he fell in love with it at first sight, and after that, he just wanted to justify why he thought it was really going to be the contender as the EV truck. But the fact is, based on how we picked apart the Cybertruck, truck people really do care about things like payload and towing capacity. They really do care about things like range, and the price they pay is a big deal. For a big part of truckland, a truck is a combination of a tool and a toy and your office and your home. It's a lot. It means a lot to people. And the most important component of buying a truck is that it does what you need it to do. And at this point, the Hummer EV is really just a fancy toy for the super rich. That puts it nowhere close to the EV truck to beat. The Cybertruck is head and shoulders above every other competitor so far, and I await to see, with real specifications, real performance details, and real value proposition, who's gonna knock the Cybertruck off the #1 position. Because if Tesla's proved one thing, it's that they can take a category that belongs to someone else and dominate it when everyone says it can't be done. Okay, that's it for now. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Put your thoughts in the comments below, and otherwise, we'll catch you next time. Bye.